Hi, thank you for meeting with me today. I understand that we left off last week talking about some of the things that are getting in your way, and I want to start off this week with you kind of filling me in on why you were having like such a down week.
I always feel like I'm not good enough at my job. Um, it feels like no matter what I do, I'm just not measuring up, and it's really been weighing on me really bad.
Okay. I'm really sorry that you have been feeling that way, and thank you for sharing that with me. Um, I hear that you saying not being good enough. I recall you saying that a couple times whenever you feel like you had some failures last week, but it sounds like this has been showing up for you a lot lately, especially at work, that I've noticed. So could you tell me a little bit more about that? Maybe where like you hear that belief of I'm not good enough. Is that something somebody has said to you? Has it been instilled in you, or is it just maybe something that is an intrusive thought?
I feel like it's kind of always been there, really, since I could remember, at least since I've been in school. I mean, and just in different ways, I felt like I was always either behind everybody in my class or like I just when I compared myself to them, we weren't on the same level, and I didn't really feel like I measured up.
So this has kind of been a thought that you've had for quite a long time. So it's probably a familiar, almost to even safe thought because it's happened for such a long time. Um, so looking back, from school to work to where you're at in life right now, sometimes the pattern of our thought processes has a very strong influence on our own like self perspective and how we see ourselves. And so maybe we can try to look at this a little bit differently. If it's something that you've always said to yourself, then maybe we can look at how to really start to change that narrative for you. Is that something like you would be open to or not?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Let me move on from my notes. Sorry, just a second. And so I do have another question. Throughout time, do you think that there was like specific moments that you felt a little more confident, or maybe that you did succeed in a couple things and you do felt like you were worthy, or that you were good enough and that wasn't the initial thought when something happened?
Well, I mean, most of the situations that I can recall are like times where like I've been given an attaboy by somebody or like somebody has kind of complimented me on what I'm doing, like and told me I was doing a good job. But even then, like I still will tell myself that like they were just being nice or something.
So I kind of hear that it's kind of just brush off your shoulder. They said good job, but you don't really feel it. Is that correct?
Yeah.
That is interesting. Um, so I think that this not good enough core belief, the story that you've told yourself, it might really prevent you from hearing when somebody says good job, or maybe even and I love you, or I support you, or I'm here for you, because that initial core belief is automatically blocking that. So, do you think that maybe we could separate yourself from that old thought and maybe give yourself a little bit of grace, to think that maybe these things are for you and that you don't have to necessarily agree that you did do well, but you can at least agree that you are more than enough?
I mean, yeah, I never really thought of it that way, but I can see where that does make me feel like I have a bit more control. Um, like like maybe, you know, like what we were talking about before, just like being able to redefine what defines us.
I like that you said redefine. So I definitely know that there's some willingness there from some of the work that you've been doing. So let's go through some of the uncomfortable positive thoughts that we may use to counteract this. Um, considering that maybe the narrative that we've had from childhood, I know you said some of these were from like the playground and like work experiences. What if that's not telling the whole truth about you? And we could try to reframe that and start to tell some truths that are true. And so maybe we can try to change that narrative. So I know that you don't love this, but I want you to give me like 3 things that that you are doing well at.
Well, I feel like I'm a hard worker. I value my work and my work ethic. Um, and I definitely try to succeed at everything that I do.
Right. Okay. See, I know like you were visibly like uncomfortable with that. But I can agree to all of those things. I can't call you a liar or say that I think that that's far from the truth. And those are some really good qualities. And I know that it has to feel a little bit better than that immediate, I'm not good enough. Because that can get a little bit rough talking to ourselves like that all the time. So if you're open to this week, I would like to give you the homework of challenging you to reframe on what that old narrative could be. And we're going to take control back of writing our story again. Um, that way we can work on your self-esteem and we feel a little bit better about what's happening. Do you think that you can work on that this week?
Yeah, that sounds like something I think I can do.
Okay. All right. So we're reframing. We're not beating ourselves up this week, and we're going to give us a little bit of some grace. And I might take your own advice and try the same thing, and we'll talk about it next week. Sound good?
Sounds good to me.
All right. Thank you. We'll see you next time.